Well, it's pretty exciting to be here tonight. We're at the Spanish residence, and we are getting ready to officially launch this thing that has been over a year in the making and seen some evolution since then.
Yeah, we drink more wine now.
Way more wine now. We started off as an internet radio show.
And people actually started listening to us.
That was the really weird part.
That was weird. Our parents listened to us,
Yeah.
which was embarrassing.
My father called in. He was our first caller to the radio show.
Yeah. So now we have a website. We're on iTunes. It's so exciting.
Stitcher.
So
Twitter.
We're on Stitcher,
everything.
Twitter. You can contact us in so many different ways, and we hope you do and dialogue with us. And tonight is our official launch party. Yay!
Woohoo! So we are talking,
And you're eavesdropping.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Women of Uncertain Age. I'm Karen.
I'm Philippa.
We're talking.
And you're eavesdropping.
So this is a really special episode for us because today we are unveiling our brand new official website where you can find us at womenofuncertainage.com. So we're very excited about that.
A little shout out to Melinda Diachenko, who built our beautiful new site, and so easy to use too.
It is fantastic. Huge thank you to Melinda. You can find us on all kinds of social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Stitcher, iTunes, and we always love to hear from you. So Philippa and I, we've known each other for over 20 years. We've known each other for a while, and we enjoy talking to each other, but especially about relationships. But this podcast is actually not about us. The things that we talk about are, about relationships, the most important thing any of us have in this life, and that is relevant to everybody. So this show is about you. We want to hear from you. And so tonight we have invited 3 very special guests, 3 other women of uncertain age, to do a little bit of the talking for a change.
Yes, and I'm going to introduce them. What we've done is invited a woman from sort of each decade of life-ish, and we're going to ask them some questions that are very provocative and interesting. But let me introduce them to you first. We have a 20-something, Lia Sermetic.
Oh, no, sorry.
That's fine, I understand. Lia is a Bay Area transplant who works in public relations, and she's a community organizer. She's a passionate Leo looking for a tall, strapping man who knows how to work with his hands. His large hands. I added
Seriously?
that part. Her favorite emoji is the cat with the heart eyes. In the middle, we have Alice Farina. The lovely Alice is an actor and recovering academic. You may recognize her from the legendary late 90s suburban Maryland community theater scene. Alice studied theater, and she was at Vassar College before falling madly in love with Paris and changing career paths altogether, and continents for the better part of a decade, mostly teaching and studying French. She returned to DC and to acting in 2010, where she has starred in several short films, music videos, local commercials, and plays. She occasionally performs French songs on such patios as mine. She especially enjoys telling absurdly personal stories to huge crowds of strangers with DC's Story League, which is why she's here tonight. Her first feature film, A Lot Like Marriage, is slated to come out this winter, and you can catch her on stage in the upcoming DC Fringe Festival play, Districtland. Welcome to Alice.
Thank
And finally, we have, Janice.
Yes.
I thought she was representing the 50-somethings, but I'm told that you're a little bit north of that, which is awesome because you have years, a wealth of experience to share
West,
with us.
there's other directions.
She's of uncertain age. It's somewhere in there.
Right.
Right, older
We'll call
than
her,
them.
well, yeah. We'll call her Northwest Kanye Moore or something. Janice Moore is a lawyer who recently retired from the private practice of law, but she has not yet retired from the dating game, despite 5 decades of experience, with some brief vacations during each of her 4 marriages.
Okay, don't hold that against me, people.
No, we revere you.
I'm an optimist.
Let's all drink to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheers.
Good idea.
Yes, let's drink to that.
Drinking has always been the root of our show.
It's the only reason why the show works. Happily, she has learned to stop saying yes to every marriage proposal that she gets, and she continues to play the dating game indefinitely. Welcome to our esteemed guest, Janice Moore.
Thank you.
Welcome to all of our guests. So, I want to start off by saying that I like dating. I like meeting people. I sort of collect people. Like, I really enjoy it. It's kind of fun, right? But sometimes things go awry. So I thought what we could do is start off with each of our special guests telling us their worst dating nightmare.
Who's gonna start?
I think we
Before you start, I have to do this sort of shameless thing and ask you to use hashtag dating PSA, because that's one thing that has always been a part of our show. We always give advice to our audience, even though we don't know what we're doing. Because basically the idea is like we have these bad days or we have things that happen to us. It's not always bad, but just things that are learning moments. And we want to share those with other people. So we're using hashtag dating PSA as a way to share our learning moments with others. So what was your learning moment, Lia?
I don't know if it was necessarily a learning moment. It was just a kind of hilarious moment.
Those count too.
Yeah, absolutely. I agreed to a date with a guy I had kind of seen in, various parties over the course of a couple years. I said, sure. And we go on this date, and we're at Maple in Columbia Heights, and I'm probably calling this guy out right now. It's a pretty narrow field.
He's sitting right here.
And slowly but surely, I just start realizing that this is going badly. He's eating with his hands. He's on 4 glasses of wine.
You weren't at an Ethiopian restaurant?
We were not at an Ethiopian restaurant. We were at an Italian restaurant, which involves forks. And so he just kind of starts picking at the table. I was wondering if he'd eaten in the last couple days. And slowly but surely, I just knew it was not right. He was on several glasses of wine to my 1 whiskey. As the date went on, I was like, this is rough, this is rough. I go to the bathroom, it's a hip restaurant, there's chalkboard walls. I'm like, I'm gonna write about this. This is so bad. So I write on the wall, I was like, I'm on the worst date ever. This guy eats like an 8-year-old. He is wasted. I wanna go home and watch TV. I sit down at the table, he's like, I gotta go too. Unisex bathroom.
No way.
So I'm wiping chalk dust off my hands and immediately start texting my friends this is going bad. And so he comes back and I just look him in the eye and we're okay. He orders dessert and licks the milk off the gelato. And then the bill comes, I'm like, this went so badly. Gotta give me something here. And he goes, I really want to treat you to most of this. And proceeds to get out a pen and get out a calculator and get out. I know. I'm a modern woman, but that was a little much. So that was, I don't know if it was a learning experience, but it's
I know, I'm
funny.
struggling to find meaning in that.
I'm actually concerned. How is anyone going to top this? That's a pretty strong start.
That was a strong start.
Right.
God, Mary Alice?
All right, I've been pretty fortunate in the first date experience realm, but there was just this one date follow-up that was pretty spectacularly awful. This guy, we had an okay time, but it was just okay, one really good thing or one really bad thing that happened after could have it could have gone in either direction. I was definitely not sold. And then the day after, I get a text that says, "Great date last night, Chubbs."
Is that your nickname?
Nope. And he was a muscle and fitness kind of guy. He was a bodybuilder. So
How did you respond?
I didn't. And then
That's the correct response.
he wrote back again being that was just a terrible joke, of course. And I'm like, yeah, I've been called a lot of things, but that is definitely not my favorite.
Yeah.
And then he followed that up with, so how would you rate our date? Best OkCupid date ever? And I didn't respond ever again. that was the end of that love story.
Wow.
So.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Wow. Janice, this is going to be, yeah.
Well, I have to say, you don't have time to listen to all of the bad dates that I've had. Because, 5 decades is a lot.
Yes, it is.
But, and no texting, no immediate feedback. The people in my dating generation, unless I'm being total Cougarville here, which I'm not. Not that I would object to anybody who's, extremely well built and, a lot of, I can't go there really, but endurance would be important if I could. If I could. If I could. I just
We have a family-friendly show.
Okay. Never mind then. You can edit that out. Anyway, because, women meet their sexual peak like at 80, so I'm not even there yet. I'm working my way up to it, though. Back to dates. Drink some more. I was introduced to a guy through a friend of mine who was really into men can be changed. They can become an improved version of the male species.
I just want to pause for a second and say that eye rolls do not get captured on audio, but there were 4 of them at least.
I'm telling you, this is what she told me.
Even Leah knows this.
Yeah, go on, I'm sorry.
So,
And she's a tall tyke.
this was a while back, and so I was still quite naive. I wasn't even quite 50 yet. So, I knew I don't
She
have
wasn't even on her 4th husband yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was really not fair.
I'm sorry.
But that's all right, because, we're all
It's
friends.
my show.
all love.
Go ahead.
And it's your show. So, I had a little inkling. We had talked on the phone, and we didn't have long conversations. No texting or emails in those days. So, I had a tiny hint when I looked out my door. I heard this really, really loud noise. He pulled up to my house on a motorcycle. Well, I was living in Houston, and so was he, and we had dinner reservations in Galveston, which is like 40 miles away.
No, you rode on the back of the motorcycle?
No,
Okay.
I did not, and I wasn't gonna. That's no extra helmet kind of. I don't do that. Not on the highway.
No,
Not. Well, he had planned this whole thing to kind of, ride up and be the kind of macho guy to impress me, and he gets off the bike and he's about this tall. And so I thought,
appreciate this very
well, I
much.
have reservations, so we'll just go. So he had to drive my car. But I had to drive because he didn't feel comfortable in my car, because my car was this great big-ass Cadillac. And he was used to this little motorcycle thing. So anyway, drive my car. I drive all the way to Galveston, and we go to this restaurant where we had reservations. He spends the whole time telling me about how his ex-wife and his friends, who are my girlfriends, had changed his whole life.
For the worst?
Well, that depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking to him, it was for the better. Talking to me, it didn't make much difference because it was really all about him. He didn't ask me once about what I did, and I had a hell of an interesting job. I was working for Enron, traveling all over Southeast Asia. Well, I know, but this is before Enron.
Before the implosion.
Okay.
Before texting, before the implosion.
Janice had nothing to do with the implosion, just to be clear.
Thank you, Karen. Thank
we
you.
know of.
Okay, I shouldn't have mentioned that word, but anyway, but it was all, and after a while you get tired of listening to that.
Yeah.
You do.
Because just the fact that he spent an hour talking about all of that meant to me that he didn't really learn any of that. He was just trying to roll back a script that somebody told him was a good idea to tell women
It was a
because
sales pitch.
Yeah, which
We've all
meant
got-
nothing.
And I think we've all kind of been there when the guy doesn't ask you one single question, and then you just leave and feel like, well, why did we even do that, basically?
Yeah, but I
that's
had
a
to
pretty
drive all the way
universal
back
theme.
to Galveston. I mean, all the way from
Did you
Galveston.
leave him there, or did you take him
well,
back?
I was tempted.
Okay.
Really, that's the only time in my life I've ever been tempted to leave somebody and just
Just like Andy and Juan Pablo on The Bachelor.
Okay, I'm totally, but that went like that. It's all right. You don't have to stop and explain. It's all right.
We'll tell you later.
Okay, tell me later.
Well, those actually, I mean, I kind of haven't really been dating that much in a while, and I gotta say, after hearing all that, I don't know how I feel about jumping back into the pool, but.
Well, yeah, it can't be that bad.
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
It's always worth the story.
It's always worth
the
a
story.
It's worth a story.
Always. Well,
Yeah.
that's actually how I look at bad dates.
Oh, yeah.
Because the only truly awful dates are the ones that are so bleh that they don't even yield a good story.
Right,
Right. Yeah.
Then you've truly wasted your time.
Right.
Exactly. But
Exactly.
Well, so, we always try to learn something from our bad dates, but what would you like to learn about, like, what do you think the men are trying to tell us, if anything? Sorry, men. The few of you that are here.
what she meant was we are very interested men in knowing what you want to tell us.
Someday we should have men on our show.
We have had men on our show.
Oh, yeah, was
we
it
had
here?
a man on our show.
Once.
We had one man on our show.
Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah, it was Matthew Lesko, the question mark man.
No, we've had two. We've had two men. Go on.
No, but that's a good question. Like, how come we don't have men on this show? They're not as interesting, or no, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. That's not the reason.
I shouldn't have said that.
The reason is that they would say, why the hell are you talking about all this stuff?
Right? They're like, "What's on TV tonight?" No,
Seriously.
We
Am I
agreed that
wrong?
This was not a We Hate Men show.
no, sorry.
I know,
Okay.
actually, I mean, we joke a lot, but Philip and I have, some of our best friends are men.
We love men.
Some of my best friends are men too.
No, we love dating, we love men. This is all in good fun, and actually part of the point of that question is like, help us all understand each other a little bit better.
Maybe I'm asking the wrong person. I had this brilliant set of questions to ask, like, what do we want men to tell us? What do we want men to tell us? Like, what do you want to know that you don't know?
You mean, what do you want to understand better about men?
Yeah. And so that way, all the men who are, the legions of men who are listening to our show right now,
The two of you.
maybe they can help us out.
Well, I know lots of things, but it's not anything I ever wanted to know. And most of you don't want to know it either. But
Leah agrees with you.
But it's really
It's like,
simple.
I really want to know nothing. Just
It's
be nice.
Really? You want to know nothing?
I really don't want to know because whenever you find out, you're like, oh God, either you want to
Yeah,
get married
exactly.
or you can't commit.
Right.
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So you'd rather roll the dice and just take it as it comes.
That's the fun part. That's the fun part,
That's
is the
true.
chance part and like the figuring it out. I'd rather not like know up front. I think I'd rather have a little bit of
A little
mystery.
unpredictability.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Now, I want to juxtapose you and Janice. Because she's like, well, I just want to find out. But in theory, you've found out a few things.
Yeah, have I ever.
Like, is there anything you want to know? Or do you know everything you need to know?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I probably know everything. It's not anything I really wanted to know, and I'm still in denial sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something.
It's like childbirth, because you have to forget in order to have more.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do that, so I
neither
only
did
did
I,
it the
so
one
there.
time. No, I had a child, but that was it. So maybe that tells me something. Anyway, the guy that I'm dating now said something recently to me that I should probably share with all of you. Karen knows him, so she knows he's a plain-spoken, no pretense kind of guy.
Yes.
Just straight out there. You ask him a question, and whether you want it or not, you're going to get the answer. So I asked him a question, silly me, about plans that he was making to play golf on a weekend when I was planning a birthday party for him, because it was his birthday weekend. Like that wouldn't be obvious. And he said, "It's 4 guys. We work. We have schedules. The only time we can get together is then. Deal with it." Can you believe he
Okay.
said that?
No,
Deal with it.
Correct.
I think I kind of like that, actually.
The plain spoken
You
part.
like that part? Okay.
I want to know exactly what's in, I don't want any pretense. Like,
Well, I think
that's great.
That actually brings up, I think, something that people find challenging about dating in general, and that, over the years, I have found challenging. I mean, there are some people that do kind of want to play games, and so it can be difficult to hear a really direct answer, but it can be refreshing in its way because at least you know.
At least you know.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
great.
Mary Alice, we haven't heard from you on this. What do you think?
I guess I want to know, I'm often kind of astounded by and in awe of male confidence. And I find this to be something that is like a harder won battle for a lot of women. And I kind of find myself looking to men for like, teach me how to care as little as you do.
Michelle, are you tweeting that? I'm running. Thank you. Yeah, that was good.
Oh my.
That's what I often want to find out.
It's
Yeah, me
all
too.
bravado, and you talk
It's
about
bravado, right?
You talk about no pretense, but from their perspective, it isn't pretense because it's all sort of been ingrained from the time they were about, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. You have to put up that, here I am, deal with me.
Yeah.
I also think age becomes an issue too, like different generational ideas about roles and all of that. And Philip and I joke sometimes, like, because we date across the age spectrum. Okay, maybe I'm more guilty of that than you, up and down. But so you do kind of find that, like, that's baked into the whole thing, those different ideas.
Yeah.
But so one of the other things that we were interested in knowing is, sometimes like you'll see people write letters. Well, they'll write letters at 40. This is what I would tell my 20-something self. So, Lia, we thought we would give you a chance to ask Janice, like...
Or Mary Alice, for that matter. I mean, she's been around the block.
This is your chance to
Turn her in, there you go.
This is your chance to kind of project forward and sort of go, hey, I'm interested in hearing about this experience. So aim the questions wherever you'd like, but now's your chance.
I'm gonna aim it at Janice. Sorry, Mary Alice. You've been married, you're dating, you've had a child. Which was the best?
Good question.
Oh,
Gosh, you should be on a podcast or something.
Maybe I'll try it out.
hands down, the child thing. My daughter is just, I love Karen to death, but I love my daughter more. And Karen knows my daughter.
Michelle is great.
Yeah, she is great. And I don't know how that happened because, couldn't have had anything to do with me. I was gone most of the time working. But having a child, if you're, I was about to say ready, but I'm not sure I was ready. But it happened anyway. Saved my life in many ways. Because when I had cancer, I thought, everybody thought I was going to die, and I said, I can't die. I have a 2-year-old, and so and then when I had cancer again when she was 16, I said, I can't die. I have a 16-year-old. I have to get her through college. So I have to raise her because I was divorced by the time she was 4, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to do that. And my mother thought I should get her a father and said, you have to get her a father. That's what she really needs. That may have been the other reason I got married. But anyway, it really is the thing that is the most important experience, if you can have it. If you can't have it, then there's plenty of other things in your life that you can find. But I think mostly the parent-child relationship is also an opportunity to model people relationships. So Karen may or may not admit that sometimes I've treated her like my daughter,
I was a little nervous for a second there.
No, seriously, because the women in my life who are younger, I tend to nurture them the same way that I mothered my child. Except I probably am not working as much anymore. But that is, it's the people in your life and the relationships that you can make with those people, men and women. In my circumstance, I think the most important friends and people in my life has been all of the women that I've had the great good fortune to have as good friends.
I want to drink a glass of
Yeah,
I know, we should all drink to that. Philip and I joke often about how we probably will end up living together.
and Sarah too.
And Sarah, yes. Yeah, any questions for Mary Alice?
No, I think that summed it up, and it kind of.
I know. I'm like, let's end the show now.
Right. Don't ask. We all learned today.
Well, yeah, it's actually, we joke about this a lot, but I mean, in the end, I mean, your relationships as women with our girlfriends are definitely, at the core. So
I wonder if men find that impenetrable though. Like,
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I think they do. I
like intimidating, you
intimidating.
mean? Yeah.
Like we have conversations, and maybe I'm generalizing, but men seem to have difficulty talking to
Can I
each
tell
other.
you guys a story?
Yeah.
This weekend, actually, I took a road trip with my boyfriend and his bandmates and his high school friends.
You were like
to
a
a
groupie.
wedding. No, it was to a wedding.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, oh yeah, road trip, that sounds great. And he offered that we take his car, probably knowing what was coming. I had no idea. I was like imagining, I don't know, listening to podcasts, telling stories, laughing, joking. No. The entire 8 hours was windows down, music blasting, no conversation, knife fights. Like hitting each other with little pocket knives, and then back to nothing. And I was
What about fart jokes?
yeah, there were a couple of those. Seriously, it was such a different world. And I was like, this is the worst road trip of my life.
And you were the only girl in the car?
Yeah, it was terrible. I hated
That's
it.
good to know, though.
Never travel in a car with 5 boys for 8 hours. Worst.
Oh, and when they get older, when
It doesn't
they're
change.
40 or 50 or 60, they will be doing the same thing, but they'll be smoking cigars, and they don't care that you're in there trying to die. And by the way, the fart jokes will get bigger and louder.
Perfect.
That's all I'm
They fart
saying.
more when they get older.
That's all I'm
I
saying.
can't wait.
Making fart jokes.
It's definitely not where I
I
thought
didn't
this.
say that. Did I say that? I didn't say that.
Not where I thought the show was going to end up, but if we had to give a PSA, I feel like we've landed on a place where it's about like recognizing the differences across the two and trying to appreciate the differences, which also help you kind of appreciate your relationships as women with other women. And
So one thing I was thinking about that you said earlier, because we have this sort of gradation of age here, and like you were saying, you don't text or do anything online.
Well,
Like, you
I
probably
do,
don't. Oh, you
but
do?
not with the guys that I date or
Right.
talk to, because
Yeah.
they don't do it.
Exactly.
But I do it. 'cause
But do you do online
I have a
dating?
hip daughter and friends and stuff.
Yeah. Do you do online dating?
Oh, God, no.
Okay. So anyway, no, of course not. No, anyway, I think there's some kind of interesting. Like we have this, like you do a lot of texting. I mean, we text a lot.
I do text a lot.
text a
They're
lot.
pretty epic texts.
We have entire conversations via emoji.
yes.
That's awesome.
So I don't know. That's kind of, I want to talk about that sort of difference in how dating has changed over the years. Like today, like do you ever call anybody?
No,
No.
and I actually really don't appreciate
No.
calls.
Right.
Like,
Don't call me.
Do not
Don't
call
interrupt
Leah.
my day and call me.
I appreciate calls when you're in a situation where, you're going back and forth for way too long. You're
Yeah.
out, you're trying to meet up. At some point, call me, I'm here, meet me there. But other than that, like a call to have a chit chat, that's for like several months, if not a year into
Yeah.
the relationship, and somebody's out of town, like you have to do it.
Yeah, because it's like an emergency.
I
It's
will
like an
say
emergency.
It can also be a romantic gesture, though. It can also be a romantic gesture.
So you like the phone call?
I mean, within reason.
Right.
Like-
I do not like phone calls.
Like
One
once a
day.
quarter?
Yeah.
I think if you're like courting someone and he's not there, I said courting.
Courting.
I didn't say that.
He's not
She said
there,
that.
and he calls you because he's out of town or something. That's really sweet. But if it's like, yeah.
But how far in? My question is still how far in?
I think early is okay if you guys have like a friendship or a bond or.
would
I mean, I'm
panic.
speaking from experience.
Panic immediately.
I totally feel you. That did happen too. But then he wore me down with the sweet phone calls.
Oh, so got to. Yeah, okay.
What did you talk about?
I don't know. That's a good question. Like life, we were just getting to know each other.
Really?
Yeah.
On the
Fascinating.
phone.
Yeah, 'cause
How
he was
about
away.
that?
I feel like that's all stuff you could totally text about. Just saying.
Send me an emoji with a bunch of hearts.
It was a rarity. It was a rarity. And he's in his 20s too, so.
Hey.
Really?
Cougar.
I know.
Yay! Nice!
Well, the great thing here is
Leave some for the rest of us, ladies.
we definitely, I mean, we want to continue this conversation and a whole bunch of other ones. But so I think we'll.
I know this is so sad. It went by quickly for us. I don't know about for you. It's probably interminable. But you know, we really appreciate you being here, and we'd love for you to continue this dialogue using our hashtag #DatingPSA. And you know, you can obviously like us on Facebook, comment on there. And you know, so our show is called Women of Uncertain Age. You know, 20-ish, 30-ish, something like that. Who knows, whatever. But there is one person whose age we actually know right now. It's her birthday, Karen's birthday.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. We could sing happy birthday. But I can't sing. Mary Alice, please, lead us.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Karen. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all. That is the best birthday greeting ever. It makes it awesome to get old.
So thank you for coming to our show tonight and listen in on Women of Uncertain Age on iTunes, Stitcher, all those ways. Good night, y'all.
Bye.